Hi there and welcome to our podcast. And this week at London Visited, we go to the theatre in the West End to tell you all about this iconic thing to do in London. My name's Steve, and each week I'll bring to you the facts, history and information about different parts and events of this great capital. If you've been to London, are planning on visiting, live here or just love London from afar, then this is the podcast for you. Don't forget to visit our YouTube channel, London Visited, to see videos covering this and so many other places across London. And now to this week's podcast. West End Theatre is the mainstream professional theatre staged in the large theatres in and near the West End of London. Along with the New York City's Broadway Theatre, West End Theatre is usually considered to represent the highest level of commercial theatre in the English-speaking world. Seeing a West End show is a common tourist activity in London and is extremely popular. There are a total of 39 theatres in the West End, with the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane, opened in May 1663, the oldest theatre in London. The Savoy Theatre was built as a showcase for the popular series of comic operas of Gilbert and Sullivan and was entirely lit by electricity in 1881. Society of London Theatre, SOLT, announced that 2018 was a record year for the capital's theatre industry, with attendances topping 15.5 million for the first time since the organisation began collecting audience data in 1986. Box office revenues exceeded £765 million, while attendance in 2019 was down 1.4% compared to the previous years. Box office revenues reached a record £799 million. Famous screen actors, British and international alike, frequently appear on the London stage. Theatre in London flourished after the English Reformation. The first permanent public playhouse, known as the Theatre, was constructed in 1576 in Shoreditch by James Babbage. It was soon joined by the Curtain. Both are known to have been used by William Shakespeare's company. In 1599, the timber from the theatre was moved to Southwark, where it was used in building the Globe Theatre, in a new theatre district formed beyond the controls of the City Corporation. These theatres were closed in 1642 due to the Puritans, who would later influence the Intergranium of 1649. After the Restoration, 1660, two companies were licensed to perform, the Duke's Company and the King's Company. Performances were held in converted buildings, such as Lyle's Tennis Court. The first West End theatre, known as the Theatre Royal in Bridges Street, was designed by Thomas Killigrew and built on the site of the present Theatre Royal, Drury Lane. It opened on the 7th of May 1663 and was destroyed by a fire 9 years later. It was replaced by a new structure designed by Christopher Wren and renamed Theatre Royal, Drury Lane. Outside the West End, Sadler's Wells Theatre opened in Islington on the 3rd of June 1683, taking its name from the founder, Richard Sadler. And monastic springs were discovered on the property. It operated as a music house, with performances of opera, as it was not licensed for plays. In the West End, the Theatre Royal Haymarket opened on the 29th of December 1720, on a site slightly north of its current location. And the Royal Opera House opened in Covent Garden on the 7th of December 1732. The patent theatre companies retained their duopoly on drama well into the 19th century, and all other theatres could perform only musical entertainments. By the early 19th century, however, music hall entertainments became popular, and presenters found a loophole in the restrictions on non-patent theatres in the genre of melodrama. Melodrama did not break the patent acts, as it was accompanied by music. Initially, these entertainments were presented in large halls attached to public houses, but purpose-built theatres began to appear in the East End in Shoreditch and Whitechapel. The West End Theatre District became established with the opening of many small theatres and halls, including the Adelphi and the Strand on the 17th of November 1806. South of the River Thames, the Old Vic, Waterloo Road, opened on the 11th of May 1818. The expansion of the West End Theatre District gained pace with the Theatres Act 1843, which relaxed the conditions for which the performance of plays, and the Strand gained another venue when the Vaudeville opened on the 16th of April 1870. The next few decades saw the opening of many new theatres in the West End. The Criterion Theatre opened on Piccadilly Circus on the 21st of March 1874, and in 1881 two more houses appeared. The Savoy Theatre in the Strand, built by Richard de Oily-Carte, specifically to showcase the comic operas of Gilbert and Sullivan, opened on the 10th of October, the first theatre to be lit by cooler, cleaner, electric lights. and 5 days later the Comedy Theatre opened as the Royal Comedy Theatre on Payton Street in Leicester Square. It abbreviated its name 3 years later. Opened in 1903, the new theatre was renamed the Noel Coward Theatre in 2006 in honour of the playwright Noel Coward. The theatre building boom continued until about the First World War. During the 1950s and 1960s, many plays were produced in theatre clubs to evade the censorship then exercised by the Lord Chamberlain's office. The Theatres Act 1968 finally abolished censorship of the stage in the United Kingdom.
Hi there, and thanks so much for listening to this podcast on the history of London. And if you're enjoying this, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up on YouTube. Now, if you want to get more involved with London Visited, don't forget you can join us as a member by going to patreon.com/London Visited with so many different benefits. Or you could purchase a 4K photograph of London from our website, londonvisited.co.uk, both of which support us and keep the channel going. Once again, thanks for listening. And now, back to the podcast.
Theatreland, London's main theatre district, contains approximately 40 venues and is located in and near the heart of the West End of London. It is traditionally defined by the Strand to the south, Oxford Street to the north, Regent Street to the west, and Kingsway to the east. But a few other nearby theatres are also considered West End, despite being outside the area proper, e.g. the Apollo Victoria Theatre in Westminster. Prominent theatre streets include Drury Lane, Shaftesbury Avenue and the Strand. The work staged are predominantly musicals, classic and modern straight plays, and comedy performances. Many theatres in the West End are of late Victorian or Edwardian construction, and are privately owned. Many are architecturally impressive, and the largest and best maintained feature grand neoclassical, Romanesque or Victorian facades are luxurious, featuring detailed interior design and decoration. However, owing to the age of the buildings, legroom is often cramped, and audience facilities such as bars and toilets are much smaller than in modern theatres. The protected status of the buildings and their confined urban locations, combined with financial constraints, make it very difficult to make substantial improvements to the level of comfort offered. In 2003, the Theatres Trust estimated that an investment of £250 million over the following 15 years was required for modernisation, and stated that 60% of theatres had seats from which the stage was not fully visible. The theatre's owners unsuccessfully requested tax concessions to help them meet the costs. From 2004 onwards, there were several incidents of falling plasterwork, or performance being cancelled because of urgent building repairs being required. These events culminated in a partial collapse of the ceiling of the Apollo Theatre in December 2013. Of these earlier incidents, only one led to people being hurt, but at the Apollo Theatre, 76 people needed medical treatment for their injuries. The refurbishment of the Dominion Theatre was completed in 2017 with the unveiling of new double-sided LED screen, the largest and highest resolution projecting screen on the exterior of a West End theatre. On the 16th of March 2020, following government advice due to the COVID-19 pandemic, all theatres in the West End were closed until further notice. The length of West End shows depends on ticket sales. Produced by Cameron Mackintosh, the longest-running musical in the West End history is Les Miserables, which has been running in London since October 1985. It overtook Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats, which closed in 2002 after running for 8,949 performances and 21 years, as the longest-running West End musical of all time on the 9th of October 2006. Other long runners include Lloyd Webber's The Phantom of the Opera and Willie Russell's Blood Brothers, which have also subsequently overtaken Cats. However, the non-musical Agatha Christie play The Mousetrap is the longest-running production in the world and has been performing continuously since 1952. The term West End Theatre is generally used to refer specifically to commercial productions in Theatreland. However, the leading non-commercial theatres in London enjoy a great artistic prestige. These include the Royal National Theatre, the Barbican Centre, Shakespeare's Globe, including the Sam Wanamaker Playhouse, the Old Vic, Royal Court Theatre, Sadler's Wells Theatre, and the Regent's Park Open Air Theatre. These theatres stage a high proportion of straight drama, Shakespeare, other classic plays and premieres of new plays by leading playwrights. Successful productions from the non-commercial theatres sometimes transfer to one of the commercial West End houses for an extended run. The Royal Opera House is regarded as one of the greatest opera houses in the world, comparable with the Palais Garnier and the Metropolitan Opera House. Commonly known as Covent Garden due to its location, it is the home to the Royal Opera, Royal Ballet, and a resident symphony orchestra, and hosts guest performances from other leading opera, ballet and performance companies from around the world. Likewise, the London Coliseum is resident home to the English National Opera. The theatre is also the London base for the performances of the English National Ballet, who perform regular seasons throughout the year when not on tour. The Peacock Theatre is located on the edge of Theatreland area, now owned by the London School of Economics and Political Science. It is used in the evenings for dance performances by Sadler's Wells, who manage the theatre on behalf of the school. There are also a great number of theatre productions in London outside the West End. Much of this is known as the Fringe Theatre, which is the equivalent of off-Broadway and off-Broadway theatre in New York. Among these are the Bush Theatre and the Donmar Warehouse. Fringe venues range from well-equipped small theatres to rooms above pubs, and performances range from classic plays to cabaret to plays in languages of London's ethnic minorities. The performers range from emerging young professionals to amateurs. There are many theatres located outside Greater London, such as the Lyric Hammersmith, Theatre Royal Stratford East, Rose Theatre Kingston, New Wimbledon Theatre, the Rudolph Stenier Theatre in Westminster, the Ashcroft Theatre in Croydon, Seacombe Theatre in Sutton, and the Churchill Theatre in Bromley. So, I hope you enjoyed our in-depth look at the theatre world of London. Whatever podcast service you use to listen to this, please do subscribe to get updates on new shows, and also please do leave us some feedback. Please let me know also any places you'd like us to feature in future podcasts, and you can let me know through our website www.londonvisited.co.uk, by emailing me directly on londonvisited@gmail.com, or contacting us on Twitter and Instagram on @LondonVisited, or Facebook on @TheLondonVisited. Thanks for listening, and really hope you enjoyed our podcast, and we'll see you soon. Bye!